Well, hello! This is your host, Eric of Gmodism, and we're back for some more empirical testing. With a busy little work week, I was finally thinking, man, I just want to sit down and do some empirical testing. I want to see how deep we can make a APS cannon penetrate. Yep, that's what we're gonna do. We are going to investigate the maximum potential of kinetic damage of the APS cannon. Now, keep in mind that this type of setup would automatically not be a cost-effective idea. It will just not be that. And if you want to penetrate infinitely deep, cram cannons is your friend. They're just slow, but they will go deep. For APS, you need it to be fast and you need it to be hard, but for the cram cannon, the kinetic damage actually doesn't matter on the speed of the shell. So even if you like mass driver boost a cram shell, it won't do more damage, sadly. Otherwise, I would have been doing some construction of some insane weapons right now. But for the APS, it needs to be fast, so we're gonna find out what is the fastest thing here. Now, this is obviously inspired from some of my cannons, which specifically is the Arcubalista Invictus, if I can find that here. Here we have it. This thing, as I keep droning on about in basically all battle videos, is a cannon which I am pretty happy with because it's usually able to snipe the enemy like weapon, engine, sometimes even AI system, just like that. So why does that work? Well, this is not of course the most deep penetrating cannon, but it is penetrating really deep, and it is not even cost effective, but it's okay, I guess. It doesn't cost that much. Like if you check here, it's like 6,000 to 7,000 materials. It uses 8-meter autoloaders, no magazines, and we are having a pretty heavy gunpowder design. So we have a rail assisted system, is what it's called. It has a sabot head and solid warhead bodies. And it has a AP value of 85 due to the speed of almost 2,000 meters per hour. Now, in any case, if we are going to shoot this thing, which I hope we can. Okay. Something like, no? Who knows? Oh, I had the wrong menu activated. You can switch between them like here. And that matters. I'm gonna change that later, but whatever. We're just going to see here, gonna fire. You can see we fire a shot here and it gets through pretty deep. This is a mix of metal and alloy, just like that. And it gets through all of this. So obviously most ships don't have this thick armor. By the way, 5 meters of metal is about the same cost as 1 meter of heavy armor, and 5 meters of metal is always better than 1 meter of heavy armor. So you can also say this is basically a good couple of layers of heavy armor. And now it doesn't get through more than 2 here. Up on this heavy armor block here, it actually dies, right? But obviously this type of cannon will be able to penetrate most ships, snipe out engines, weapon systems, and things like that in a pretty reliable way. So, while that's very cool, this is obviously not the most deeply penetrating thing we can make. It just happens to be one of my favorite examples. Well, back to the drawing board here. To test it evenly and neatly, I thought that before we are going to install heads, well, obviously not having a type of head will of course decrease the shell speed, but I'll just want to test solid warhead bodies, like a rod like this, no head, with Sabot warhead bodies, and basically half and half. And then I set up this little thing, 3 degree, so very narrow frag. So that is what we're going to do. Well, I'm first just gonna name these. Now, in my experience, the performance of the shell, of course, changes with its caliber, but it doesn't drastically change. So we are going to begin with a 150 millimeter. But obviously, when we are needing to make the type of gun, when we are trying to make the thing that can penetrate as deep as possible, it of course needs to be 500 millimeters, I think. It actually can be worth it to have it at lower, like 400 millimeters, if you want to fit them in 8-meter autoloaders. But that will be something we will be looking at a little bit later, so I'll save that conversation for at that time. Well, we're starting to assign the solids to all the intakes. And just doing like this. So, 150 millimeter. Can we get through here? So I'm just gonna show you here, I set up some different armors. So we're going to methodically test all the types of shells here so we can see what actually performs the best. So the shell, as said, is just a straight rod of heavy heads, which you can see, no, not heavy heads, that's what we're gonna add later. It's just solid warhead bodies, nothing fancy, it's just a rod of like metal, or I don't know, yeah, probably. Inside of here, they are just outloaded in this little complex and fed into this railgun system. They are being shot out with this railgun of 1,240 meters per second, which is a pretty normal speed for a type of kinetic gun here. So first, as said, we're just gonna test the general effectiveness and stuff like that. So we are going to begin with this first piece of like regular armor. This is some kind of how I would want to set up some armor like this. We have alloy for interior armor, we got metal on the outside, and we got some HP sponge wood behind of it. All right, fire. Right, it gets through the metal, but it doesn't reach very far, right? So this is pretty weak, right? If we shoot it against this is how a lot of other people like to set up armor. You can see it did actually less, or it did less damage here because obviously the block behind it was backed by some armor. So as we can assume, it only scratches the surface on this. This is how a lot of other people like to set up ship armor, basically. It's obviously more expensive, but it's a very common way. This is the best, like, tanky armor that you can feasibly set on a ship without being very ridiculous. So this is like anti-kinetic armor. We have this 4-meter offsets because they have slightly better health bonus than the 4-meter wedges. I can show you. You can see 4-meter offset. It has a health bonus of 25% due to that. And this hand has a, or actually it is this wedge. It's 20%, so it's only 5% difference, but these are the blocks we like to use to like mitigate kinetic damage. Right, now I just moved around here. But obviously it doesn't get that deep. Now this is just a ridiculous piece of armor. Obviously it doesn't even damage it very much. Here we got a rod, whoops, or just a big slab of stone. This is just a big HP sponge. So obviously for the cost, this does a good job. But yeah. Then we got the heavy artillery, which is 7-meter ducts. Obviously it can't damage a 7-meter metal duct. That means it can't damage a 7-meter heavy armor duct. Now, why do we use ducts? They don't have a health point bonus. They are actually more expensive. The thing is, one of these metal slabs has 10,000 health. So if we damage this thing, we need to deal 10,000 damage at once to destroy this block. So that provides a protective sheet. As for the heavy armor, it's 37,000. You'll need to pay a little bit of a premium to use the blocks. They are not very good health points or armor per material, and they don't stack. I don't think they stack. You know what? We need to check that. They don't stack, right? Armor class 40. Armor class 40. No, they don't stack. Here we can see armor class 48. That's if they stacked. So it's just the base AC value. And in heavy armor that stacked is armor class of 72. This is just 60 here. Now, if you want to know more about armor in that way, check out my armor tutorial. That's the new one. It's pretty good, if I can say so myself. The thumbnail sucks though, so click on it anyways. All right. So obviously, just a rod won't do it much. If we swap this, however, to a sabot, we should be able to possibly deal some more effective damage. So we're gonna assign the sabot rod to all intakes. Do a little thing there. So then we can fire it again, basically. Right. There you can see, due to this damage leaking through here, we are getting through much harder here. We can't destroy the heavy armor though, and that's probably because let's see, where were I? There. That's probably because it has pretty bad armor piercing capabilities. Wait, where am I? Here, okay. Now, this is interesting. You can see it penetrates less. And this is of course due to the damage being applied better against armored blocks. But when it comes to dealing raw damage, the solid warhead bodies were actually better. I'm going to turn on this HUD here because I realized that we probably want to keep track of the exact damage numbers there. If we check these shells here, we can actually set this to be 150 millimeters, so we can see the approximate stat for it. So here we can see the expected armor piercing is 21. That's really bad. So we can basically effectively deal damage against stone and wood, but not much else. And the kinetic damage is 7,000. If we check this one, the sabot here, you can see that the... we need to set this up here too. Max rail draw, okay. You can see that the expected kinetic damage is just 4,700. But the armor piercing value is 41. That means that we're dealing so much more damage against the metal. So, but they're not great because they don't have a tip here. I do suspect, however, that the half and half sabots, half solids, one more sabot actually, will probably outperform both of these generally. So 4.5 thousand damage. And there we did that. Whoops. It's there. Oh, no. Can't deal too much damage here. Now against this thing, it should be worse than just the solids, but yeah. We just need to test the frags here and see how just the frag... Now this one won't really care about the penetrating power. It might as well. Whoops. This frag shell might as well be going super slow towards the target. It doesn't need to go fast because it doesn't, you know, it's gonna explode on impact as it is now. Obviously that's not ideal. All right, bam. We might actually, all right. You barely see the fragments spawn like that. You can do like this. Oh, never mind. Let's just fire. Can you fire? Oh, no, it did. Oh, I think we shot between some stuff there. Well, anyways. We're just gonna repair this thing and get away another shot here in slow motion. It's kind of hard to see the fragments spawn. Well, it is frag that it's shooting, right? No, it is not. Did I forget to assign it? Oh, yes, I did. That's why we see no difference. Sometimes the frags... Oh, all intakes. I forgot to click that button. Sometimes, when you have really narrow frag, it can be kind of hard to see where you're shooting at. Well, there you can see. All right. No. Oh, look, I accidentally aimed it. That's the problem. Right here. Bam. There you can see the frag smoke, like when they hit, basically. Right, back to just testing it straight off like this. You hear the classic frag sound. Now, the fragmentations do little damage against some blocks. Against the stone... Oh, I thought it would be even better, actually. Apparently it was not. And this thing. Oh, it applied a good couple of damage to it. Well. Interesting to see. But now we're going to switch up and having some different, well, fronts, caps on these things. Oh. Now we are discussing the deepest penetrating guns, but just like an honorable mention, there are some other tips you can use, of course. A hollow point head, for example, will make it so that it flattens out on the surface and takes out the big chunk on the top of the armor. A famous one using hollow points is the Megalodon. And it's usually better to have some Sabots backing it to keep the armor-piercing AP class or AP value. Because as you can see, the thump AP here, it will deal so much less damage if it's trying to damage a hard surface. Now this is 34, so honestly you can see that this damage is like 8,000 here. And this is like 6,000, so it might actually be better with... Yeah, we can actually just test it out a little bit, but just to get it out of the system, the honorable mentions, there are some other stuff which you can use too. We have the skimmer tip, and the skimmer tip is basically makes it so that it can't go under the water surface, so it just bounces on it, which can be good if you want to hit superstructure above water. But it has a speed and armor pierce modifier. It has slightly, not like slightly, it has worse stats than the armor piercing head. But if you need that specifically, you can use it. But it's not going to be best at anything, is probably what I'm trying to say. Well, and of course the disruptor conduit can be used too for kinetic heads, but it's you don't need to. But if you didn't know to, you don't have to have a headpiece on the shell. It just makes it faster. If you don't have it, you don't get access to that speed modifier, for example. Well, I think we're just gonna test these hollow points here against some regular 2 armor types, just so you can see how it looks like. So we're gonna do the solids first. See what actually difference there is here on a metal surface like this. All right. Ew. I'm a little bit... That sounded so much like frags. Are you sure you reloaded? Are you sure you're on solids, all of you? I think so. Sometimes you have to like double click the resetting of the APS shells. It's weird. That's a proper. Oh, that's the proper, okay. And the big armor like this, obviously, this got a little bit too tanky for it. But again, this is not gonna be your most deeply penetrating armor, so we are a little bit... assigned to all intakes, great. We are sidetracking a little bit. But I'm just curious to see. And that's how it is sometimes with empirical test, and we sidetrack some. Bam, you can see that's some good stuff. Whoops. I don't know. It was very similar, to be honest. Just gonna repair this thing. See that again. Very, very little difference. Well, to the real tests here. So here we have the different layouts. We have the half and half. We have the solids, the sabots, the half and the frags. We're first going to talk about like the most reasonable kinetic damage head, which is used for civs, but also, well, for kinetic damage dealing. This is a heavy head. And the good thing with the heavy head is that it has a kinetic damage modifier of 1.75. So this just increases the kinetic damage dealt by this piece by so much more. If you compare that, for example, with an armor piercing head, it won't increase the kinetic damage like this. And when you have sabot heads or sabot warhead bodies, like if you look at this thing here, it has a kinetic damage modifier that actually decreases the damage. So that's one reason why you don't want to have too much armor piercing class when you're shooting at soft targets, right? Anyways, it also has like lowered the health of the shell, so it's easier to shoot down with lambs and stuff like that. So that's good to know. It has a nice armor piercing modifier though. Not as like that's the body. The head has a nice armor piercing modifier by 2.5, so it really increases the AP value. So that's why we need to test them side by side, because sometimes you may actually want to have a heavy head that's backed by sabot warhead bodies, and sometimes you want to have a sabot warhead body backed with like just solid warhead bodies. So heavy head for this one too, and we're going to set a heavy head on the frag as well, so it will actually penetrate a little bit before it activates the fragmentations. Well, I'm also a little bored with the strength of these shells, so I'm going to increase the desired shell gauge to a little more. Now the shells, wait, was that due to the gauge? No. Where is our, no, that, it was just because we added a, what is it, heavy head to it. It means that it got the speed modifier bonus. So now it goes 1,600 meters per second. We're having 250 millimeters. So first out, we are going to test the solids with the heavy head against the array of different targets here. All right, fire. Oh, bam, it just goes straight through 11,000 damage, no problem at all. Regular type of armor just goes through, no problem at all. Deeply penetrating. But here we got 13,000 damage, but it got stuck here. Now, this setup we had there, this shell is gonna perform really bad against an armor like this. This is basically effectively set up to counter just a heavy head solid warhead body shell like this. And now we go up to the pure heavy armor. Man, you can see now our heavy armor is really doing a lot of work because we only dealt 3,600 effective damage, and that's of course because of the armor class. Now, The heavy head should basically do the best against this. Bam, look at that. Bam. So we're going to, I'm just gonna add this little pink marker to where it got destroyed, so we can just compare it to future tests here. And now we are gonna test this thing. This thing first. Metal ducts. Oh, it got 2 of them. It got 2 of them. And now this one. Can it destroy one of these? No, it cannot. Because obviously the AP class, you know, couldn't get through there. So if you just check these stats here, boost this up to 2500 millimeters as it is. The AP is 18, which basically means that the effective damage is halved when it hits metal surfaces. But it did full damage to this stone HP sponge. So now we're going to see with a heavy head that is countered that is backed by Sabot. See what that does. If we check this little value here, you can see that, oh, now I did forget to draw up the rail draw, but this has a expected AP value of 40. So if we draw this up, this had 30. Okay, so it wasn't halved. It was like halved by where is my math? Is it 30%? Something like that. Yeah. And this is basically gonna deal full damage. Right, so let the test commence. Shooting through, no problem at all. Goes through, no issue at all. Oh, 39,000. It did a lot more damage. Bam, but it did not get through here. Sometimes I'm just mistrusting the results. We're gonna look at this again in slow motion. All right. I'm pausing the game here to confirm this is indeed a Sabot. Bam. Oh yeah, and even though the AP value is of course better, it's a sloped surface, so it deals less damage, and Sabot heads actually help with that. They make it so that those nasty slopes basically reduce your damage less. That's the only reason basically why Sabots can effectively be better than armor-piercing heads despite decreasing the kinetic damage. So our heavy head with Sabots backing it didn't get very far there either. Oh, let's see here. Let us test the HP sponge. You can see indeed it did not reach as far as this thing. Very expected. It should, however, perform better against this. Bam! It got 2 of them. Oops, now I misclicked. I think that's about the same, but it looks more damaged. And it didn't kill this either. Honestly, overall, having a heavy head backed with the Sabots seems to be just objectively worse than having it backed with solid worded bodies. Because if you shoot the squishy area, you know, think your engines, your interiors, your, you know, weapon parts, basically anything that's not heavy armor and metal, well, it's gonna deal more effective damage. Right, but we're gonna test the half and half, which might actually be a better mix overall. So I'm just gonna do that. So there it goes, obviously gets through here too. 39,000 damage. You know what? I think this did, if I recall correctly, this did more damage effectively, but it didn't get through, so it's not a big deal. We got similar damage there. Look at that. Now we can see we can regain some here. So it's gonna be interesting to see how it performs against these. Bam, 2 of them, no problem. And we still can't destroy a heavy armor. If you can't destroy one heavy armor 7x7 with a kinetic penetrative shot, you'll need to redesign it, because stuff like the singularities, like spamming this and some other designs inside of it for protection. Well, now we're gonna see if our fragmentations can cheat us to victory. The thing with using frags instead as a type of like Fawkes kinetic payload is that it can severely give you some issues when you get hit, because then you need to have really proper emergency ejection defuses, ejectors and stuff like that, because frag is the most volatile of them all, just so you know. Well, so now we're going to, in slow motion, test the fragmentation. I think the frags are just gonna get just through here without exploding. So these like first ones will be a little bit boring. Bam, no big deal. Now we come to the interesting stuff. So now we should slow down time here to slow motion. Bam, 11,000? That's kind of bad. Huh, I almost thought it would go through a little bit, but it just didn't. That's just pure sad. Well then it's gonna be quite interesting to see if it can deal with the stone. I'm most likely going to think it's not going to deal with the heavy armor very well. Obviously not. But this thing, whoops. Bam! Look at that. That was actually more effective. Okay. We'll just have to watch this we'll have to watch in slow motion to see what's happening here, okay? Okay, kinetic rod. Can we see the fragments, or did I just... Oh? Oh well. Right, so a frag rod 3 degrees is a really nice little setup here. That's a little bit surprising. So the fragmentation angle is set up to 3 degrees. If we set it up to 1 degree, I suspect that it will penetrate less deeply. We are going to have a marker though for each time, so we can compare the results. All right. Wait, now we went away really far. All right, fire 1 degree. Bam, okay. So here the fragmentations got us just not so far. So if we have it on 2 degrees, we're gonna test again. Bam, 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 and fire. Oh, not quite there either. So if we set it back to 3 degrees, we can see if we can reach the same results as before. All right, and whoops, there we go. No, thank you. Right, let it just get in place and fire. Bam, all right, we got to the same level again, okay. So the thing is, when you have the more narrow fragmentation angle you have, the less damage each fragment does. You can see fragment count 19. If I up this to 90, you can see the damage per fragment is like getting basically 6 times as high as 180 as it is on 1. But let's say we do 180 just for testing. We're gonna have a completely different type of shell. We are not looking at the kinetic penetrator anymore. But here it goes. And there is it destroys here, and then it creates a big frag explosion. Not what we're looking for today. So if we set this to 4, can we exceed our previous results? Fire? Oh no, not really. Not really. What about 5 degrees? Ooh, oh yes, there we got it. 5 degrees is indeed better. 5 degrees, okay. 6 degrees was the same basically, so 7. Oh, and 7 degrees, yep. Same results. You know, I'm gonna increase it a little bit in a bigger jump. So we're going to, like 45 is the absolute max, I think. So let's try the 45. I think it's gonna be a real wide cone. So it will be kind of weird. And yeah, you can see it doesn't penetrate that deeply. So let's do like 30 degrees. See if we like narrow it down here, so we don't need to test every degree separately. So we only need to test the degrees that where it matters. Much better, but just to make sure. Yeah, okay. It might have been the old shell, now it's the new shell, so we're getting there. If we do 20 degrees perhaps? Now I don't like it spreading out in the end like this too much because it doesn't feel like a kinetic shell anymore. But anyways. Ooh, bam, look at that. That is actually as good, if not better. All right, we got a pretty decent. So 15 degrees. I'm thinking we are really closing in here, and the more we are decreasing it, I'm not sure I actually... Okay, we'll test again here. Bam. No? Not quite. We reached here for 10 degrees. 7 degrees again. Oh, this one didn't perform that well. This is interesting. I'll need to see. Okay, so 7 degrees coming again here. Bam. We got some varied damage. I do hope... Yeah, I think we are absolutely having enough rail charge, right? Yeah, obviously. We did click the recharge there. So basically 25 maybe, right? 25. No, indeed not. Here under 35, it seems like we're hitting a very sharp point where it just gets significantly worse. So that's good to know. So this is pretty interesting. It honestly seems a lot how the fragments fall. And if it's a little bit too wide, it had a chance to do more damage. But if it's a little... Yeah. But if it doesn't get like funneled to the front, it kind of does less damage. So it really seems that 15 perhaps is the best number. I'm gonna do some test of recording here and see. Oh, I think I found a new one. Look at this. No, it didn't. It got through last time. Okay. Well, it was lucky, I guess. Maybe 8 degrees. I tested back and forth, and sometimes we get some really extreme luck with 18 degrees or 8 degrees. But in all, generally, it seems that 10 degrees may be the deepest penetrator of them all. So that's pretty good to know. So now we basically we set it up as 10 degrees for all the future tests, so we can really know how deep it can penetrate. But that's really interesting to see, because then we basically have a shell against soft targets, which will outperform the solid warhead body with a heavy head. So we're just gonna assign this to all intakes and just try and do a comparison how deep this can go now. Here you can see. And bam, now we go here. Well, really interesting to see that we can actually increase the penetrative capabilities with using a chemical payload. Well, from these results, we can see that the heavy head is still best fitted with solid warhead bodies, unless we are gonna add some fragmentation into the mix. we're going to use and test the next tip. So we're going to continue with an armor piercing head, right? So I'm gonna set an armor piercing head on all of these. And the armor piercing head has a boosted speed modifier, and of course a armor piercing value that makes it pretty neat. So you can see this solid one has now 52 AP value, so with no problem against any type of metal anymore. All right then. By the way, I'm working on a little poster from the character, the mascot that Matros Finley drew for us. So I just have a little question which you can put into the description, in the comments field, which I kind of like to know. So I wanted a kind of funny quote here. So don't worry, we'll keep you safe and sound. And I decided that Eriki is a sergeant in the army of Gmodism. That's the mascot's title, because it kind of fits together with the double lines here. And that fits with the badge we made for sergeant before. Anyways, this is alternative number 1. The other little option I had here is progress requires sacrifice by AUG Sergeant Eriki. So please write me in the comments which one you'd like to prefer. I have some funny also variants which we could possibly make in the future, but we all have a limited time, and I'll need to make videos first on my free time when I'm not working. So this I'm doing on my free time when I want to do something else. So that's why that is why it has taken me so long, obviously. Well, anyways, which is your favorite? Progress requires sacrifice, or don't worry, we'll keep you safe and sound, with a ruined city in the background. Pretty funny, no? Back to our little tests here. So armor piercing head, how will it go? I'm pretty sure it's just going to go straight through of these ones here, but well, yes. And now up to test. This is a little bit interesting. Okay. 30,000. No, it didn't get to that. That's why it's so good. Kinetic armor. Bam. It kind of does similar damage, man. It kind of like hurt this bit a little bit, but not that bad. Well, how about the kinetic thing here? I do highly suspect that we'll get some pretty weak results. Yeah, who cares? And then to metal. This should be better. It destroys 2 of them. Didn't it destroy 2 of them before? Oh, it didn't even destroy this one. Armor piercing heads are overrated. If you're not gonna have payload, it honestly feels like it's the worst option. Well, we're gonna check out the AP head with Sabot warhead bodies instead. Hopefully that will be a little bit more interesting. Alright, repair all. Great. I'd like to make some super button that just clicks all those buttons automatically for me. It's sad there is no in-game commands to do that, because then I could set up a macro. Right, Sabots. Going through, boom. Oh wow! Oh wow! That's weak, it didn't get through. Look at that. Oh yeah, because the damage is so decreased. And this thing didn't even destroy this one. No, not either. Not even that. This should be oh, wait, what? Okay, it did destroy that piece. Okay, it did destroy 1 block. Amazing. About the kinetic sponge, pretty weak results here as well. Pretty similar to the ones before though. And this then? 1, almost not even 2. This is pathetic. Oh my god, this is absolutely pathetic. What is this now? This is just sad. Did I set up some limitation here? No, it has max. Yeah, alright. Well then. Not a contender. Alright, so what if we set up a half and half then? Assign to all intakes. Because this thing should have an AP value of 62, so it exactly deals full damage to heavy armor, while not being that gimped when it comes to kinetic damage in general. So hopefully this will be the best option yet, but we shall see. Alright, getting through, no problem. Getting through this, no problem. Getting through here. No. Barely damaged. Oh, no, it barely damaged it. And is kinetic. Sad results. 2 are deleted again. That is good. Oh. Well, it kind of failed. It didn't kill this one either, so yeah. It's pretty similar to results there. It's better, of course, it's objectively better, but honestly, so far, just a kinetic with a heavy head was better, even though it was slower technically, because now you can see this goes 1,800 meters per second, like close to the Arcaballista Invictus. Well, then we have the frag thing we tuned previously. So we're gonna see how our frag friend is dealing with all of this. All right then. We're gonna begin here. Doesn't destroy a heavy armor block. Welp. Like, now I'm a little bit unsure. Are we sure we have... I'm gonna check again. I just got paranoid because I didn't hear the frag sounds. Now we hear them. Maybe I wasn't close enough, but we didn't have much different damage. Bam, 2 blocks, that's something. Bam. Better than before, but not as good. No. And then we have this. Not quite. But it actually damaged the heavy armor block behind a little bit. Oh, this looked nice. Oh no. Was just wishful thinking, I guess. Does it get through? Oh, bam. It's like a shotgun behind. Not for that one. Look at that, that's so funny. One time more. Okay, never mind. So, when it comes to armor piercing head, it just underperforms compared to the heavy head in general. Yeah, not that impressed. I guess just solid warhead and armor piercing head was like better, but no. It didn't compare to the heavy head, I think. Just rechecking the results here a little bit again, and it only performs slightly worse with the heavy head against the heavy armor like slab. Other than that, it deals generally better damage with a heavy head rather than an armor piercing head for a solid warhead body. So I guess only use a armor piercing head for a kinetic rod if you, I don't know, have to deal you have to make it fast, I guess. But then we come to the next part, Sabot head. So the Sabot head has a speed modifier as the armor piercing head, but it decreases the kinetic damage. Yep. It also makes the shell weaker, and it reduces all of the frag and other payloads to 25%. But it doesn't care so much about angles, so the angled armor will be much easier to deal with the Sabot head, which is why the Sabot head is usually the preferred shell when we're talking about armor piercing setups. So yeah, it's usually best with a Sabot head for armor piercing setups, but we'll need to put it to the test, of course, to see what can give us the deepest penetration possible. Well, it's a little bit funnier. The frag here should technically be weaker now, due to the presence of the Sabot head. It does decrease the damage a lot. But it doesn't mean that it will be the worst of them all, because the Vigoletta Marksman does actually use Frag and Sabot mixed. Well, we're gonna check these results first, and then we're gonna check the Vigoletta Marksman for a little extra look test thing. All right, Sabot warhead body with solids. No, Sabot warhead. Sabot head with solids. Oh, bam! Look at that. The Sabot head with the solids finally was the first one to destroy that angled armor. That's some good results. Oh, bam. And it was able to delete this heavy armor block behind of it. It should be abysmal against the stone, though. Well, it's bad, all right, but it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Nice. Right, now comes the big test. The kinetic shields. Oh, only one? Damn. Not even two? Alright, next one. Oh, that's depressing. Are you kidding me? No, it can't. It can't. Alright. If we just check here, what? Oh. Well, that's a little bit sad. What can you do? Right, so I had better hopes for it, but I guess it's yeah. We're gonna check the other ones there too, so yeah. I mean, it has an armor piercing class of 80, so it is more than it needs to be here with the Sabot head. We should technically get objectively worse results with the Sabot warhead bodies behind of it, because of course 109 armor piercing value, you don't need that. Like, what are you gonna use that for? That's only if you have an enemy that has some type of super insane ring shield or something that boosts the armor class to some insane level. Well, probably there. No other usages. Right, so now we're gonna do a Sabot warhead body with a just straight Sabot rod behind of it. So let's start. Goes through, bam. Oh, that's sad, look at it. It doesn't even get through this. Okay. This one, it has so little... Oh, it actually damages the... Okay, it can take out that one. Yeah. Pretty sad damage. This should be pathetic. Yeah. Well, I mean, similar to the previous one, but you know. This one. Almost destroyed too. That's weird. No destroy here. Well, there we have it. So next up we have the mix. But honestly, the mix is like 94. And this with only solid warhead bodies is already 80. So we're more than we need. So we are actually gonna skip the mix because it's just gonna be, you know, worse than the one with the solid warhead bodies behind. We're gonna go directly to frags. And it's not 3 degrees anymore. It's 10 degrees. There we go. Assign to all intakes. All right. Fragmentation goes through. Are we gonna have a shotgun here? Oh yes, we are. It got through though. Ah. Oh, it got through at least. That's good. It's nice to have a Sabot head sometimes. And this one? Oh well, not too bad. And this one? Yeah, that's better than Sabot or solid rod, I think. Possibly. Bam. Not quite. And we still can't kill one there. Well. So, what have we learned here? Well, we have learned that heavy heads are really good. Now, I'm gonna show you the Vigoletta Marksman I talked about a little bit before. It's the this one is the smaller one. So, So here we have the Vigoletta Marksman. If you check this system here, you can see the intake, and it has like Sabot head, solid warhead body, frag warhead body with a degree of 120. And here I just swapped out the frag for like another solid warhead body. And in the previous tests, when we did this, the frag one actually flew through the armor faster. So we can see here if we're behind here, the one closer to us should get through a little bit faster. Oh, and it didn't in this case. It honestly depends a little bit on what we are shooting at, but let's just try again on metal and alloy, so we can see if the one further away or if the one closer to us gets through faster. It's really hard to see here. Okay, and if we continue like this one starts to deal damage and getting through here. But then it switches around, so it seems to be pretty similar now. I know the APS damage has changed a little bit since I did this test last. Obviously, the one with the frag does deal some interior damage to components and stuff like that, but it's possible it's better to switch it out with just a solid warhead body, the frag piece in the future. Who knows? Nice to check again at least. So, but they are very similar now at least. Ooh, I think perhaps it was like this, that the APS damage got boosted, but perhaps the APS damage getting boosted didn't quite apply to the fragmentations, which basically evened them out. That's a possibility. Well, well. Now we will be able to test the most penetrative capabilities of them all. We're gonna increase it to 500. Make sure they are getting launched like real scary ones. So best ones was obviously, well, Sabot heavy head, Sabot or heavy head with just a kinetic rod, or possibly the fragmentation with a heavy head. So we're gonna test this against metal and see what's happening. We're gonna begin with heavy head frag. And at 500 millimeters, we can shoot through 4. And for the heavy armor, not even 1. All right, that's bad. So what about Sabot? Solid warhead. Still can get through 4. Oh, it can't destroy 1. It's a little bit slow, this shell though, so we'll need to fix that and make it faster. Now I hate being that guy, but we basically laid some great foundations for our little research here today, basically investigating the best type of kinetic damage for APS. And the results are pretty clear. If you're gonna deal kinetic penetrative damage, you do want to have a heavy head with just solid warhead bodies behind of it for most of the cases, but if you are wanting to penetrate angled, specifically angled armor, it can be a good idea to have a just kinetic rod with, of course, a Sabot head instead. Also, we found this little niche shell that in some circumstances are better, which is the heavy head with frag with a 10 degree. So this video is already long enough, so I feel that we should probably continue these little testings in a future iteration where we check out how deep we can penetrate. So I'll name this video not that, but we are going to check that in the future. And I can tell you like this, we're gonna make a diff cannon, a direct input fed one, to basically bypass the 8 meter max so we can reach the new 10 meter max. And using that, we can build a railgun gunpowder thing mix to hopefully be able to penetrate insanely deep with our shells. But in any case, it was nice to have a little check on the kinetic damage types. And for the record, if you want to have hollow point damage, please do keep in mind that hollow point is really only good for high caliber. So if it's under 300 millimeters, don't deal with hollow points. That's for like 400 and 500 millimeter cannons. Otherwise, it will be just very sad damage. Hollow point has very niche uses, but when it comes to kinetic, you want to penetrate into the innards of the enemy. So it kind of depends on what you're shooting at, how strong it needs to be. So that's the little recap thing. And with that, I will just say huge thanks for watching, and also big thanks to the commissioned officers in the army of Gmodism: Commodore Owen, Captain Sebastian Dode, Captain Shiro, Commander Morton, Lieutenants Andor, Cravey, Frau Dragon, Flower Ross Dragon. Sorry, your name is hard for me sometimes. I'll get better at it. Lieutenant Parvagrid, Lieutenant Vincent Veritas, Lieutenant Rick Prell, and Lieutenant Scuba Rocks. If you want to support the channel, you can join the Ecclesiarchy there to get early access to videos, or you can join here in the Army of Gmodism as a commissioned officer. Also, there are alternatives too at shop.gmodism.com if you want to be a minister in the government, who knows. In any case, thanks a lot for watching. This is your host, Eric of Gmodism, and I'm signing out.